Monday, August 26, 2024 regular meeting of the Paris City Council is hereby called to order at 5:30 p.m. For the purpose of this meeting, there is a quorum of the council present. Mr. Gene Anderson will deliver the invocation, followed by the United States Pledge of Allegiance, and the Texas Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Mayor Pro Tem Savage. Please rise.
May we pray? Heavenly Father, we thank you as always for your many blessings, for your watch care over us, for your divine intervention. Father, we pray for our country, that you'd give us God-fearing leaders, and we just pray that we would do all that we do in your name and in your glory. We just ask that you guide and direct our council tonight as they conduct the city's business. For we ask it in your name. Amen.
Item number 4, Citizens Forum. Persons desiring to address the council must limit their presentation to no more than 2 minutes. Unless an item is posted on the agenda, the Texas Open Meetings Act prohibits the council from responding to any comments other than to refer the matter to a future agenda, to an existing policy, or to a staff person with specific factual information. Claims against the city, council members, or employees, as well as an individual personal appeals, are not appropriate for Citizens Forum. If necessary, the City Council may convene into executive session under Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code regarding any item on this agenda. The public forum is now open. If there's anyone who wishes to address the council, please come forward, state your name and address for the record.
Alvin Atwood, 2419 Bonham Street. I want to say straight from the last meeting on Thursday, I was excited to see my council actually discussing and creating dialogue between each other. It wasn't just a 5-0, 6-0 vote. I was enthused by that because too many times if I came in here and I seen everybody vote for one way, it didn't matter what the people out here were saying. I was grateful to see that out of y'all that disagreed and agreed. You're supposed to find mutual ground. You're here to represent the citizens. Even though you're here for free, you are our government official. Secondly, properties here in Paris, Texas. I'm trying to buy some properties right now, and we're looking at back tax properties, you know, the properties that nobody wants, have been sitting there just collecting grass growing up. Problem is, these back tax properties, a lot of people don't know about the sales that are taking place, and they're going to, I can pull up right now on Marketplace, several properties in Paris, Texas, that are owned by somebody in Dallas, Austin, Houston. These people are buying these properties, and then they're becoming something that we have to mow, we have to maintain, we have to look at as an eyesore. I believe if you put that information out there to people or citizens that live here, grew up here, know here, that you might get somebody actually investing money into these properties, somebody that'll be able to buy them. I don't know if y'all, I'm looking at a property over here behind Kroger's, $45,000 for 1 acre of land. I can't build on that. So we are going to look at back tax properties. The bad part about that is I just recently found out where to go for that. And then the process with that, with the law firm that y'all have with that's broken. That's meant for the wealthy only. Somebody just trying to become that first-time homeowner, they don't have the advantages that they do. That guy wanted me to go out, get a loan, deposit money into a bank account. I'm out of time. I'll get back to y'all on that one next time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
My name is Zon Tarones, 1905 Culbertson Street. I'm here today to talk about a skate park being built in Paris, Texas. Our current skate park is very much outdated. There's a lot of drug usage that goes on there. There's been multiple times that I've found open needles right at the entrance. Families that have been up there and crackheads been around the area and messing with them and caused them to leave the area, which I'm most likely sure they're never going to come back. I've also saved these kids multiple times that go up there and hang out. I've had to give them a ride home because these crack users are going around and chasing them and stuff and just messing with people. I also don't think that that's good for families to go out there and see, like, hey, I want to take my kid to go skate, and then they see all this chaos happening, and then the kid's probably never going to be able to go skate there again. And that's really the only area we have to skateboard. I did a survey online, and I got 300 signatures, a little over 300, and basically asking what the community thinks about a new skate park around here, and if they would like to see one, where they would like to see one, and they also gave some input, just what they think of the current skate park. And so I'd also like to pass these surveys out. I think I only made 5, and I guess I thought there was gonna be less people here. But yeah, that's basically what I just want to bring up is our current skate park. It's not a really good location. The families that go out there just don't ever end up coming back. The kids get harassed by these drug users, and it's just very outdated. Surrounding parks such as Sulphur Springs, Hugo, they have better skate parks than what we do, and I think our town's a little bit bigger, if not the same. So I just like to throw it out there. I also like to pass these out if I could.
Yes, please. Sir, what was your name, and could you state your address again?
Zion Terronez, that's 1905 Culbertson Street.
Perfect. Please feel free.
Well, pass those to me, and then I can email them to everyone.
Yes, ma'am, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Tommy Haynes, 3095 Abbott Lane, Paris, Texas. I spoke with Larry Shank last night, and he's still out of state with a family. I think y'all may have heard from him today. I got a call from him just a few minutes ago. I was sitting in here. We have spoken to you several times about the reinstatement of the COLA for the city retirees from the Texas Municipal Retirement System. TMRS is well known. We have a narrow window and a golden opportunity as the Texas legislature has a new option to allow cities to calculate a COLA by only going back to the change in the consumer price index for a 1-year period rather than us having to go back 16 years and never being able to get it done. Since we have not had a COLA since 2008. When we stopped the COLA in 2008, we also stopped the updated service credits for current employees. So if we reinstate the COLA, we would also start the updated service credits again, which would benefit the current employees, and they will get the COLA when they retire. I appreciate the hard work the mayor and members of the city council have done along with the city manager and the finance director. I respectfully ask that you include our request in this year's budget. Will all of the retirees who are in favor of the COLA please stand and be recognized? I think we have several here. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I'm out of time, too.
Good evening. My name's Danny Huff. I live at 625 Beaver Creek Road in Powderly. I want to thank you for your attention that each of you have given to the budget process this year, and thank you for listening to the needs and concerns of your retirees. And thank you for being the council who finally listened and understood the importance of addressing the critical staffing needs at the police department. You guys have shown that you're not only committed to doing what many councils before you have failed to do, and that is to recognize one of the key issues of why the PD has been a hiring ground for all law enforcement agencies in Lamar County for many, many years. Not faulting those that have recruited your good officers to go away, but it's time that we reduce that opportunity to steal our cops, and by creating a notable pay differential between the PD and other local law enforcement agencies. The citizens of Paris are the ones who've been bearing the burden of the cost for training for probably 75 to 90% of all law enforcement officers in this county. Your recognition of this critical need to increase the pay of your officers and your decision to not only recognize it but finally do something about it will greatly help reduce or increase the recruitment and retention of your police officers. I believe will even see officers who left the PD come back, and you'll have the greater opportunity to hire certified officers, reducing your costs for travel, training, and I think 15 officers currently short. That's about a $1.5 million in training. You can reduce that by hiring certified officers to come back to the PD. Officers who come back hopefully will be here to stay and retire here at some point in time. This will save the citizens of Paris a huge amount of money by recruiting, retaining, and training officers who are going to end up going somewhere else. So I thank you for your commitment to this pay increase. That speaks volumes to your police officers and demonstrates that you value the men and women who serve here. And when we're at home at night, they're out there working. I pray that we never forget to recognize the officers for the sacrifices they make day in, day out, night to serve this community and keep each of us safe. Thank you for demonstrating through your kind words and your supportive words that you've spoken about the police during your budget workshops, and your kinder and louder words of support they will hear by your upcoming vote, proclaiming to them that you've not forgotten them and that you value each and every one of them. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, the citizens forum is now closed. Consent agenda. Does any member wish to remove an item from the agenda for discussion? If not, is there a motion to approve all items on the consent agenda?
Moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries 6-0. Moving on to the regular agenda. Agenda item number 12, discuss, conduct a public hearing, and act on an ordinance amending zoning ordinance number 1710 of the City of Paris, Texas, as heretofore amended so as to allow a specific use permit, SUP, for mixed use in neighborhood services, NS, in the Simpson Place Addition, Lot 1, LCAD number 17543, located at 2301 Clarksville Street, providing a repealer clause, a severability clause, a savings clause, a penalty clause, and providing an effective date. Staff, do you have a presentation?
Yes. Greetings, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. This is an application for a special use permit. The applicant is requesting for a part-time operation of a type of use that is a kind of beauty salon. It's called Sage Aesthetics. What she is planning to do exactly is to have a mixed use live and work type of application, and this is under special use permit application, and that is what is before you now. It went to the Planning and Zoning Commission on the 5th, and they unanimously approved the recommendation to this application, so that is what is before you today. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. I will now open the public hearing and ask for anyone wishing to speak about this item to please come forward and state your name and address for the record. I will now close the public hearing. Is there any discussion, council? Right. If none, then I will hear a motion.
So moved.
Got a motion?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed, say no. Motion carries 6-0. Agenda item number 13, discuss, conduct a public hearing and act on an ordinance amending zoning ordinance number 1710 of the City of Paris, Texas as heretofore amended so as to rezone properties located within Historic Overlay District Number 2, HD2, otherwise known as the Church Street Historic District, to Single Family Dwelling District Number 1, SF1, directing changes accordingly in the official zoning map of the city, providing a repealer clause, a severability clause, a savings clause, and a penalty clause, and providing an effective date. Staff, do you have a presentation?
Thank you. Greetings, Mayor and Mayor Pro Tem and Council again. This is the known application that has created a lot of controversy over the time, and you directed us to prepare a rezoning application to the P&Z for them to look at it critically. On the 5th of August, it was presented to them. They deliberated very much into it, and they discussed a number of issues. And what happened was that they were concerned that in the process, somebody or an applicant can come in and develop a duplex or a multifamily over there because it was allowed. So what they came out with is that they should approve this application as you have requested to the FS1, and at the time, if you approve it finally, we can go back as suggested with staff that we get a sort of workshop within the neighborhood to actually figure out the specific areas that would be appropriate for this type of zoning district rather than the holistic historic district HD2. And so that is what is before you now. And we recommend that for now you approve your request that it is zoned FS1, which is currently not appropriate. Even if you look at the lot sizes, the FS1 is bigger than what the lot sizes over there that it will be able to be developed. In actual fact, the appropriate zoning district will be SF2 for those vacant lots to be developed. But for now, if you approve this, our recommendation is that you let us go back to the drawing board, have a workshop with the residents and neighborhood to discuss the appropriate boundaries that can be rezoned appropriately. Thank you.
Thank you. I will now open the public hearing and ask anyone wishing to speak about this item to please come forward, state your name and address for the record.
Good evening. I'm Linda Knox. I live at 655 South Church Street in the district that we're discussing. This is my third time before you. I think you know how I feel about it. I hope you will support this, be it SF2 now for the district. It's really important to us. You know, we live in a district that's governed by the Secretary of the Interior. It costs us a lot of money when we repair our house, when we paint our house, when we do anything to our house, and we also have to have it approved through the Historic Preservation Commission. So by doing this, it's just going to help us protect our property and keep it for a single-family neighborhood. Keep it a single-family neighborhood. So I would appreciate any effort that you have in your support and changing this designation to single family. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Council, my name is Robert Spain. I live at 655 South Church Street. I'm up here to speak in favor of passing the ordinance for SF1. I understand, according to the discussion, that there would be further work on this. I know we've been trying for several years to get the Church Street Historic District redone to help solve any future problems that we may have with home building and other things. We're very interested in protecting the historic district. It is one of the bright spots, and I think going forward with this would possibly help in future historic districts that y'all are seeking to enact in other parts of Paris. But I think doing this SF1 is a good step towards protecting the street and its historic areas. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello there, I'm Sims Norman. I live at 606 Church Street. I am generally in favor of any new building in Paris, Texas, but the area south of downtown is very unique in our community. We are not a community that has older single-family homes all over town that are preserved. There's a lot of momentum downtown, and with that momentum is coming some short-term rentals in the upstairs areas of the downtown buildings that used to be vacant. These people are going to eat, they're going to walk to eat and walk for entertainment. This could actually create an economic uptick for our community in sales tax if we get these people in downtown, have them walking down south of downtown in our areas and eating downtown. I encourage you to strongly consider making this area south of downtown single family. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Anyone else? I will now close the public hearing. Council, is there any discussion you would like to have on this item? Anyone?
No.
Okay. If none, then I'll hear a motion.
I'll make the motion that we go with staff's recommendation to make this a SF1.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed, say no. Motion carries 6-0. Agenda item number 14, receive quarterly reports on demolition projects. Staff, do you have a presentation?
Yes. Mayor Pro Tem, Council, this is supposed to be a quarterly demolition report. I have not reported to you guys since January. So some of the numbers at the very end of the slide presentation will be commiserate from January to date. I know that we have two new members. I know that Mickey's not here, but Alex, I know you're brand new. This is basically the same presentation. Moving forward after this, we can change it up, but this just identifies the process start to finish. Identifying substandard structures is the start of it. Proactively, myself and my officers, every time we're out in the field, we look for substandard structures. Reactively, anytime we receive citizen complaints, complaints from you guys, anybody in the community, we will go and check those out also. Let's see. Before the structure can be presented to the Building Standards Commission, we have to determine if the structure is substandard. Basically, some of the things we look for there is holes in the roof, foundation damage, missing interiorated wood. The next step is we have to identify the owner or the lien holder. We check with the appraisal district, we check with the county clerk to try to determine who owns these properties and also who is a lien holder. After that, we have to notify the owners and lien holders of the city's intent to condemn the building. We do that by placing an orange sticker on the structure. I'm sure you guys have seen those where it just says it's a dangerous structure. We send a violation notice to the owner and the lien holder, and then finally we publish the violation notice in the Paris News. To actually condemn a structure, we have to present the structure to the building standards. This consists of staff showing the commission photos. We give them commentary regarding the structure, and we make a recommendation. After that, the commission will ask questions of staff. If the owners and the lien holders are present, they will also be given an opportunity to speak to the commission. They'll be questioned. After that, the commission will make their deliberations and place an order on the structure. That's usually for demolition is what we normally take to them, but that could also be repair. I can tell you that this past meeting, I am also going to try to put vacate orders on all these structures, because what we're running into now is that even though we've condemned a structure, somebody has got in those structures, whether it be an owner or a squatter. So we're just having to basically put vacate orders on it also to keep up with this new problem that we have. Let's see, next. The orders of the Building Standards Commission are sent to the owner and lien holder. This is once it's been condemned. Those orders are sent to the owner and lien holder, and they're also filed at the county clerk. This is very important in case the property sells. An owner will know that they are buying a property that has some type of order on it. We also publish these orders in the Paris News. A little over $30,000 has been sent so far in this budget year. Just want you to know that, like, when you guys are giving code enforcement money to tear down houses, a big expense of this is also publishing in the newspaper. So just know that, the $150,000 that you guys budget, $30,000 of that so far, it's actually a little bit over, has been spent just for publishing in the paper. And that's still with, these numbers don't reflect August or September. So you're looking at that an additional probably $5,000 to $6,000 will be spent. So you're looking at $35,000 to $36,000 will probably be spent this year just on newspaper publications. Once the allotted time given to demolish the structure has passed, and there is no appeal to the district court, a request to remove the utility services given to Encore and Atmos. I want you to pay close attention to that. No appeal to the district court. Everybody that goes through building standards, they're given the opportunity, and it states it clearly on the order that we send out. It also states it in the paper. You have the ability to appeal. Okay, we actually dealt with somebody in the office today. They were pretty upset because I had to tell them, it's like, listen, you can't save this house anymore. It's fire. You can't be in there. All the appeal processes, are gone. So again, everybody does get their due process. After that, a final noncompliance notice is sent to the owner and the lien holder. Once the utility services are removed, the structure will be placed on the demolition list. This is twofold. We have an outside contractor, Sanitation Solutions. They're doing a great job for us. They get work orders, and then we also tear some of them down in-house with my abatement crew. Finally, after the structure has been demolished, a bill will be sent to the owner and lien holder. If the bill is not paid, a lien will be filed with the county clerk. Again, this is also very important because anybody who buys that property or goes through the title process, they will see that, hey, this has a lien on it, whether it's from a dilapidated structure or a mowing lien. Those are the two that we mainly file in code enforcement. All right. From 2020 to present, approximately 255 structures have been presented to the Buildings and Standards Commission for demolition. In that same time frame, 162 structures have been demolished from the orders of the Building Standards Commission. There are currently 55 structures remaining on the demolition list. The last time that I presented to you guys, I believe it was 60. So, from January to now, we've actually shortened that by 5 structures. The City of Paris has been responsible for demolishing. Can you go back one more slide? City of Paris has been responsible for demolishing 45 structures during this current budget year. The City of Paris has been responsible since January of 2024, which is y'all's last report, 29 structures. And again, you can see all the different structures there. You can see there's no one place that gets any harder than anywhere else. These are, like I said, anytime we find them, we just demolish them all over town as quick as we can. And then the last slide, just to show you like some before and after pictures. Again, this is what, was there before. This is the work that, their demolition contractors and our city abatement crew do. You can see they're left with, pretty good clear lots. That's all for the slide presentation, and I would love to answer any questions y'all might have.
I do have a question, Robert. On the cost for the newspaper.
Yes.
Do we have to publish that in the newspaper, or is that something that could be published on the city website?
Yes, we do have to publish it in the newspaper. That is state law. And again, we've looked at other options, and that is for demolition. They do have to go into a regular newspaper. We had actually, when we had the Dollar Saver and things like that, we had tried to do that because it's a regular, but it doesn't meet the criteria of being a newspaper.
So, but all cities don't have a newspaper, so what do they do?
I think because I have asked, because like I also work some with Clarksville, they no longer have a paper.
Right.
I believe they would have to publish it in the nearest newspaper. So for them to do the same process, they would have to probably publish in Paris News.
It's called the public or paper of public record, so each city will have one.
But you do bring up a good point, because that is going away. Many cities, printed paper, it is going away, so.
About how much on average is it to demolish? I mean,
like how much does it cost per structure? How many structures?
Per structure.
Per structure, let's see. I can tell it's about 3,000 is what the average is now. But I know that we've spent. Let's see. They're averaging about 2,500 right now, but that seems to be the going rate, 2,500 to 3,000.
I know when I visited your office on my tour, you said you had gotten more done in the last 4 years than in the last 10. What has changed in your?
Basically, honestly, what's changed
job?
the most is
What's gotten easier?
Yeah, what's changed the most is council has put a priority on doing it, and you guys have given me more money every year to do it, and it's shown. Sanitation Solutions, they do a great job for us. You guys have also said that you wanted us to start doing some in-house. So that process, through that, I was able to get some dump trailers. A lot of city employees, we don't have CDLs. So you can't get like too big of a trailer, and you can't drive a dump truck without that CDL.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been able to purchase the biggest trailers we can get without having a CDL, and it's really helped our demolition crew, their ability to tear down houses. And I think also we put in the budget, and I think it was possibly approved for a 4-wheel drive 1 ton. So we can actually get in and out of the dump even better. What happens right now is every time that it rains, if it gets too wet out there, the weight of the truck, it takes it off the rear end and they can't go. So now they, with this 4-wheel drive, that should make that even better. So we should be able to demolish more.
Are you fully staffed?
Yes. Yep. We have 4 full-time people on the abatement crew, and we have myself and 3 officers. So we have 8 employees, and that's exactly what we're budgeted for. Yes.
It's sufficient? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. Would you be able to do more with more staff?
I don't know exactly on the demolition how much more we could do with more staff. I mean, obviously, yes, if I had more staff, you could tear down more houses in-house. What we run into a lot, and I would like to see like what this 4-wheel drive truck does for us. There's certain months to where we just, because of our capabilities, we can't dump, we can't go to the landfill at all. With this 4-wheel drive truck, I'll be able to tell you more. But yeah, I mean, obviously, if you had more people doing something, you could get more done.
So with the current staff that you have, is that like one crew? Is that you lump them in like a crew?
Yes.
That uses the equipment. So if you got more staff, you would have to have more equipment to tear down more houses, right? Because they're using this equipment, because if the equipment was available, the staff is available.
Absolutely.
So you would need more.
Yes.
Got a question. No, go ahead. You're not through. No.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I got mine wrote down. No, go ahead.
I wasn't going to say anything else.
Oh, okay. I thought you were. Okay, what is the current budget? I may have missed that for demolitions.
150, I believe.
150?
150,000.
Okay, how many houses are we tearing down per month?
I mean, right now, if you averaged it out,
3.5?
yeah,
Yeah.
3 to 4.
Yeah, so,
I will say that I feel like some of that is, it's just bad luck as far as like all the rain. I mean, like, you know, we had from February until June, you know, I give you all a monthly report of this stuff, and that's kind of like what we're going over to tell the public. But like, you know, there was 3 or 4 months to where we didn't have any demolition at all that was done not only by us, but our outside contractor. And it's just because when it's that muddy, you just can't get that heavy equipment in and out of the landfill to dump. You also run the risk that, like, when you demolish the stuff, you know, you're going to tear up the property so bad that you're going to have to come in after the fact, and the city's going to have to spend more money by putting in fill dirt and things like that from the ruts that we left.
yeah, and I get that, but in the rate that we're going, if we do 3.5 per month, that's $9,000 a month. That's under $110,000 a year if we keep that average up. So that's $40,000 worth of work that we're not getting done. So can we escalate the work during the summer months when there's no rain and it's been dry? So, you know, I know, say in the spring, we won't do as many.
Yes.
But in the summer, we should double that.
I agree.
So it seems like that average should go back up to around 5 a month if we did more. So that goes back to Ms. Norman's question, is it because we don't have enough staff, we don't have enough equipment? And Sanitation Solutions, I know they have mentioned before, they're waiting on the city. So we increased the money, and now we got this money and it's staying on the table because we're not getting it done. Or not, I'm not saying not getting it done, I'm saying we're not using it. So it's laying there if we go by the averages.
Yes.
So between May and October, November, that's when it's more of a dry season and you can get a lot more done.
Right.
So,
And I will tell you, let me go and look back at those numbers, and I can either email you guys individually sooner, or the next quarterly report, I'll have like more details on that. I'm sorry I didn't come 100% prepared on that. I don't think that if we're leaving any money at all, I don't think it's anywhere near 40,000. I mean, I think it would just be like a few thousand. I feel like we either hit the mark or go over usually. And again, some of that 150,
money,
36 of it,
other places, that's right.
well, 36 of it is probably going to be newspaper.
Okay,
So you're looking at more, you know.
so that balances it out.
Right.
Okay, so do you need more money? I mean, that goes back to the question.
No.
Do you need more money? Because I'm gonna tell you why I'm asking this question. Because I know every council member on this board does not get these phone calls like, say, me and Mayor would in the areas that we represent. And we get a lot of calls. I see a lot. And there's just a lot of abandoned buildings. I get the calls about the dope, the people that's on dope that go occupy these buildings. You mentioned that. Yes. And it becomes a safety hazard. I don't care what their issues are. They can still burn up in these houses or die with nobody knowing that they're in these houses. So it becomes a situation that neighbors that live in these areas are calling us constantly and say, hey, come here, I'll show you, come here at night, I'll show you. So we get that a lot. And if something is needed, then we need somebody to ask for it.
And obviously, yes, I mean, more money, you could get more done. That is 100% true. I feel like that you guys have given me more money every year. To answer your question, I think that's why we've done more. So, I mean, 100%, if you give me more money, I will spend every bit of it that you give me tearing down houses, mowing grass, everything we can do for the citizens, to make our community safer.
Yeah. Can we also, to Ms. Norman and Ms. Putnam's point, can we just look at other legal ways of notifying?
Oh,
the
absolutely.
people, but saving money, because you're right. You're looking at 30-something thousand just for notification. So there might be another way to do that. I don't know that, but I'm saying we could look at it legally and see if we could say trim down. And I mean, if you could trim down 3,500, obviously we could tear down another structure.
Well, I mean, you look at your monthly rate. We've discussed this. Your monthly rate, what you're paying, because we normally don't have a meeting in December. That's just kind of, it's Christmas. Nobody really, the commission doesn't want to have a meeting. So you're looking at 36,000 over 11 months. You're basically costing yourself a little over a house every month. That's how much you're spending. So yeah, you're right. I mean, I would love to, I will reach out to other cities and see if they found, and then obviously we'll ask our city attorney to do some looking into that also.
And I know you said you don't meet in December, or even if you didn't meet in November, or if they didn't meet in November, we still have houses that haven't been torn down. So the meeting doesn't stop the tearing down of houses.
Right.
So back to, I know you're fully staffed, and equipment is expensive. My question is your demolition team the same as the abatement team?
Yes. 4
So-
people. Go ahead.
So if we had 2 teams or 5 people, then we could have some using the equipment specifically for demolition, and then those others specifically for the abatement.
Absolutely.
So it would be no cost in equipment, but maybe in salary.
Yes.
Okay.
Great point.
So I had a couple questions. Obviously, this is a dynamic process, and as you take off the list, things get put on.
Yes.
Approximately how many houses come onto the list per year?
Well, like this last Buildings and Standards meeting, which was last Monday, we presented 12 properties. And I think of those 12, I want to say that 8 came onto the list. And I'll say that's a bigger month. It's usually 4 or 5.
Gotcha.
So you're looking at, somewhere between 40 and 50 structures probably come on the list every year.
Gotcha.
And that's just for demolition.
And then, obviously, I know that our city, and talking to other communities, it's amazing to see the progress that you guys have in taking these structures down. Although that is a great endeavor, the ultimate goal, hopefully, is that we wouldn't have to do that. So I pray that citizens or whoever the property owners are take better care of these homes and really do something with it, or sell it. But I do appreciate what you all do, and I know you do the best that you can with what you've got. But I absolutely agree with my colleagues. It would be wonderful to be able to help you and gain that. So if that's something that we need to look into the future, hey, I understand that's maybe a big ticket item, a pretty expensive item maybe to put up for a next budget. But it's something at least that we put on the radar to be able to control and look into the future. The other thing that I wanted to just kind of talk a little bit about is, in regards to some of these structures, what are some of the challenges that you guys face from a fields team? Just getting out there. Are there any particular challenges that we could help with from a council perspective?
Well, I think a lot of it is educating, and I think like having the quarterly report, we're telling the public because I'm actually presenting. But, we need to get a little bit more education out there as far as what exactly is a substandard structure. We get a lot of calls that, the house itself, it just doesn't meet the requirement to be, condemned. They're just ugly, or somebody doesn't like their neighbor. You get into all the different situations. But then also, some of the things that we struggle with are There are people who have homesteaded houses and they live in them, and it is, like, we could condemn it. If, like, the second they were to leave, we could put an orange sticker on it and it would go right through. So probably look into some kind of programs as far as helping the people that do live there to either, fix the structure they're in, which would be hard. I mean, it really would, because some of these structures, they're so far gone. By the time you try to put that money in, it would be hard to justify it. But maybe get them out and have some other kind of programs. I know that, Rudy, you've talked to me about repair programs and stuff, things of that nature to try to help the citizens that are living in these. But those are the main problems that we have. As far as, like, if they're a vacant structure, I've changed it up a little bit to where we're going to start putting vacate orders on it. That's something that we had happen recently. It's a structure that you're very familiar with over on West Sherman. That should have already been done, and we cannot get the guy out of it. His father owned it. He's there, so we had to put a vacate order on it. Once that's done, then we can actually remove him from the structure, get it down, and get everything out of the way.
Great. Hey, I've got one final question in regards to the publication portion of this. Every year I keep thinking, man, I need to look this up, but I always end up forgetting. To your knowledge, has there ever been any kind of studies done or any proposals to say, now with the advancement of technology, maybe being able to post it online to some of these news media organizations to be able to publicize that online or digitally, social media? Is there a shift to maybe look at that from a state level?
To my knowledge, no. But like Alex brought up, I mean, this is, there are lots of towns that don't have a newspaper anymore. And as Rob brought up, I mean, so yeah, I mean, it's coming. We're going to have to start investigating it, because what if the Paris News shut down? I mean, what would be our next paper? Would it be the Dallas Morning? I mean, we would have to research that and find it. So yes, I mean, I will reach out to my colleagues, and again, we'll look into, like Gary had said, I mean, definitely, that's something worth looking into for sure.
Well, I would add to it, this is coming straight from legislation. This is not something that we as a city have an option over. Until that changes,
Right.
which I think we're getting to that point, but until that changes, unfortunately, we're stuck using that vehicle.
Yes.
But even with legislation, and I'm sure these lawyers in the House would say it's subject to interpretation, most laws.
And I agree. I know a lot of it's run through the state, but I was just curious if there's any sort of discussion from Austin to have more advancement of this, because I mean, nowadays, a lot of people don't subscribe to the paper. Unfortunately, I know I still do, but a lot of people don't. They rely now on social media and things like that to stay better informed or more quick, breaking news. So just curious, but also from aiding in your point on that, we can also have some good discussions from the back end from our state representative and senator to ask too. So
I would love that.
Absolutely.
Because it's I've told you how much we're spending. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And that could all go, most of that could go towards actual demolition instead of just making mostly absentee owners and lien holders, aware that what we're doing. Even though we send them letters and everything else, that's just part of the process. We have to publish it in the newspaper also.
Yes, sir.
Robert, I think for a little bit you were trying to get some outside entities to come in and maybe buy some lumber, some supplies of houses. Mm-hmm. Is there any traction in that?
None whatsoever. Rob and I have actually talked about that. We're going to try to, it's on the website. We've reached out to companies that said they did it. I've had emails back and forth, but nobody's actually came. Just need to find like something else to put it out, possibly social media, something. But no, we've had zero traction on that.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your payment process? You demo a home and a citizen say, okay, I want to keep this property.
Mm-hmm.
What's the payment process on that?
There's two routes that they can go if they want to keep it. They can obviously just pay it all at once. A lot of times that is not available. You're talking, $3,000 or $4,000 sometimes. They just don't have the money. We will take them over to our finance department. Gene Anderson, our finance director, he's really good. He'll tell them the whole process. He breaks it down for them, and they come up with, what they can afford, and then they will just start making a monthly payment. And then once that's over with, they'll tell our office. If they do that, we never really actually file a lien. As long as they're making payments, we don't file a lien, and we're told that helps them with their creditors and things like that. I don't know exactly how that works, but if you have a lien on your property, I think it hurts your credit. So as long as they're making payments, we'll never file that lien. And then, if they were to stop making payments, we would try to reach out to them, actually before filing a lien.
Okay, thank
But
you.
yep, that's the
So are the
process.
expenses just from the 3,600 or whatever it is, tearing down the house, or is there something else that they have to pay?
No, when on our demolition stuff, we just give them the price. Now, if a lien was actually filed, you're going to have to pay the price plus interest plus the filing fee. Like right now, it's $25 a page. Whenever we file a demolition lien, it's only one page. So it'd be that cost plus the compound 10% interest every year and the 25.
Okay.
Last question. I feel like we're mostly talking residential primary homesteads. Is this the same process for commercial?
Yes. It's the same process as far as getting it condemned. I'll just tell you the expense to the city tearing down a commercial property is much higher though normally.
Sure.
And it's simply because on a commercial property, we are required by law to do an asbestos survey. Depending on the age of that, usually is a good determination on whether it's going to have asbestos. But when those come back hot, we have to abate the asbestos first. It is incredibly expensive.
And you still charge the property owner and file the lien if you need to and everything that goes with it? Okay. I saw that historic preservation, their last meeting, one of the old hospital buildings is on there, pavilion, so.
Yep.
I was just curious.
Pavilion West.
Do you
It's
know how
that
much
and
that's going to cost yet? Have you gotten an estimate?
I
Okay.
would not have any idea on that one.
Okay.
But it would be, again, first off, they're bigger buildings, so they would be more expensive just because of their size. But no, any asbestos that we pull out of there, it's just much more expensive.
Thank you.
Anything else? All right, that's fantastic discussion. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Appreciate you. All right. We will now move on to agenda item number 15, discuss and act on a resolution amending the guidelines and criteria of the 5 and 5 Housing Infill Development Program. Staff, do you have a presentation?
Yes. Greetings, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and Council. This is the famous 5 and 5 program that a moratorium was imposed on in March 11th. And the purpose was to see how the efficiency and effectiveness of the program was going. And so, staff was given the order to go into it. We were supposed to finish it at a certain time, but due to the delay for the housing study also, which we wanted to look at how those statistics could get into this infill program, we requested for an extension. That was another 90-day, which will expire in upcoming September 7th. And so we have been able to get into it now, and we hope that, and we think that we have amended it very well, that we have corrected some issues that were in there that some developers were talking about or complaining about. And we have come up with a model for you to look at. And we have created a matrix, a table. This time around, we have the single family, and we have the duplex and the multifamily. And in those three groups, we have certain types of conditions that we have created. Before I go to the matrix, there are certain conditions that are very significant that we looked at before creating that matrix, and I would like to go through quickly. Number one is to lower the limit of single-family structure that was required. Before, the minimum was 5. Now, there are applicants who cannot meet that 5 minimum category, so we've reduced it to 1. And so an individual contractor can come in and want to do 1 and up to 10. So that is one condition. And we have put a cap on the 10 max per contract or agreement. It's because of building and fire regulations. When it gets to a certain number, technicalities come in, and so we have capped it at 10 per contract. Also, we have reduced the incentives for multifamily dwelling units on the same lot. So that is also to encourage and promote single-family infill. We have restructured and reduced the permit, also the plan review and the TAP fees. So it will create and correlate staff workload and time spent on reviewing these applications. We have also classified and created a zoning change policy that will prevent applicants who intentionally will want to rezone properties just to get into the infill program. We will look at it case by case, and if there is the need for a rezoning for that purpose, then we will recommend approval. So we have also created this metrics that I'm going to explain a little bit, so it will make it much more simpler. And each developer has to finish at least 80% of the development per the agreement before they will be allowed to get into another contract. And so with the incentive table, we have categorized them into 3 groups: the single family, the duplex, and the multifamily. So we have 5 incentives. That is the low-cost residential lots. We have the tax abatement. We have the reduced building permit review plan. And we have the reduced permit fees. And then the last one is the reduced rates on water and sewer tap fees. Now, when you come to the single family, we allow the low-cost residential lots. In the duplex, we don't. In the multifamily, we don't. When it comes to the next tax abatement, it allows for the 5 years, we give 100%. For the duplex, we will give 3 years, 100%. And then the multifamily, it will be 3-year decreasing. That means year 1, you get the 100%, year 2, 75%, and then year 3, it will be 50%. When it comes to the building plan review, for single family, it will be 100%. For duplex, it will be 100%. For sprinkled buildings, we want to encourage sprinkling. And so if you sprinkle your building, we give you 100%. And if you decide not to sprinkle, which is not required, we give you 50%. And for multifamily, you don't get anything. When we come to reduced rates on the water tap and sewer fee, we give each one category 25% reduction. And so that is what is before you now. And we recommend that you approve this amended proposal for the in-house infill program document in relation to the residential housing tax abatement, the guidelines, the criteria, and also we have amended the application form to match these changes and amendments. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Council, is there any discussion on this particular item?
Yeah, I've got one question on, when you said lower the limits to one structure, what do you mean? Like they can get in the 5 and 5 program and just build one over what period of time? It's in, when you say.
Are you looking at the metrics or?
No, the line items, it's number 1 on the line item. Well, is it number 1?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Lower limit to single structure? The number 1, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so before, the minimum was 5.
Yes.
And now we can allow a contractor to decide to build 1.
In 5 years.
Yes, so that issue came up, but we will talk to them, and we have a range of 3 years to 5 years, depending on the type or number of units you want to put. So there is a strict limit on a certain number that you want to put. And so if, let's say, it is just 1 unit, we will let you agree on that contract. So it will depend on the contract that you sign with us.
So you can build, you can get a contract to build 1 house or 1 structure in 5 years or 3 years.
No. So, yeah, you are talking of the time, right?
Yes.
Yes. So we will make sure we narrow down if it is 1.
Well,
the time limit. The max is 5 years.
Right, but what I'm saying is this: we call this the 5 in 5.
Correct.
5 units, 5 doors in 5 years.
Correct.
So are you saying now you can build 1
Yeah.
within a time structure and still get in this program and get all these rebates and?
It is quite interesting you said 5 in 5. Now there's a trick in there. The 5 is not the 5 minimum, but now it is 5 incentives in 5 years. But we still get the 5 in 5. If that makes
I get it, but I think it's taken away from the spirit of what the program was created for.
Right.
It was to put more doors out. So if we're allowing people to get in this program for building 1 structure, I don't really agree with that side of it. Everything else I do, but we were trying to encourage use this program to encourage people to build more.
More. What you're saying is we should prevent those who are building less than 5 not to be part of the program?
From the way the program was originally designed, 1 would not apply.
Okay. What we are doing now is looking into the issues or complaints that developers brought forward. And so the question was, why can't an applicant decide to build 1 at a time? And that was why we factored that in there.
And I get the 1 at a time. I mean, it was always 1 at a time. You just had to do 5 in 5 years, at least 5 in 5 years.
Right.
So it was always, that was an option. But so now we're saying they can build 1, and your contract is, if you build more, that's fine. But if you build 1 and within the time frame that you signed the contract, then you've met your obligation and you get these rebates and tax breaks and all that.
Yeah, so with the 1, I guess the strength of the time will be on the agreement that we get them with. So if somebody is going to build, let's say, 5 homes, we can give them about 5 years. If somebody wants to build 1, we can say you have to be able to finish about 80% in about a year and a half or 2. So all will be in the agreement. And if somebody wants to build 10, their time limit that we're going to give them will be different from somebody building 3 or 2.
So are you proposing a sliding scale almost? Is that kind of?
Yeah. So there's that scale, but the allowance will be in the agreement itself.
Right, and then at the end of the day, I whenever I was reading this, I completely agree, because I was thinking, well, hold on, is this now turning kind of into a 1 in 5 or a 5 and are we keeping it at a 5 and 5? So I agree, but I absolutely think that when we make these presentations in the future for anyone that does come up to agree to this 5 and 5 program, that we also heavily highlight the time period, so that way we don't get off into the weeds of saying, well, okay, investor A, you're wanting to go ahead and do one building or one unit. I don't want to tie up so much of the time and then also our resources into that one unit. I think it's also important to state that I do appreciate all the other things that you guys have put together. Spot on. Even from councils past, whenever this program was started, we were all concerned that, hey, there's a lot of duplex, triplex, a lot of multifamily going into this, as opposed to single family homes that we're wanting to really see in some of these opportune areas. So thank you for your initiative on that. And I would love to, I don't know how the rest of council feels on this, but in regards to that first item, I think I would like to see a little bit more of an understanding of a metric of time frame for that sliding scale.
Yeah, tidying it up with those things.
I agree. Could we maybe look at 3 units? Because I think you're going to have a lot of people that are going to tie up all your resources because they're going to build their first house ever, trying to get some of these tax abatements. And I think you're going away from contractors and people that know how to build, possibly going to people that are trying to make a little bit of money with an investment.
So you have a magic number for the minimum? 3?
No, let me ask you this, because I'm like Ms. Moore always say, we need to look at it from everybody's lens. So are you thinking that if we use the one and allow the one house, because it would be a single family house, right? It would have to be. Are we allowing them into the program because we are trying to incentivize that young man and woman that just started work at such plant and they want to build a house and it might be one of the lots that we want to get rid of? So are you trying to incentivize that? Because if that's what you're doing, I have to disagree. I agree with you.
Those who are falling into, it will qualify those individuals also.
Okay, now let me ask you this question. We're not changing the parameter, right, from where the 5 and 5, or what do we call it now, lies in, 20th to such and such street. So the parameters did not change, right?
Correct.
Okay, so I hate to put it this way, but I can see where somebody who's wealthy enough to afford a house would not build in this area, and it would be more for the people who were lower middle class, so needing that extra incentive. So if that is your thinking, and it's near and dear to me because I pushed this with the former city manager when we first started this. So if that's your thinking, then I totally agree. If it's going to help citizens take a lot or their own lot and put a house there, then we don't have to complain code enforcement about mowing.
Right.
So it does help. So I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah. So that exactly for individuals who want to get into the program and build their homes as an infill, this will qualify them.
Gotcha.
But they'll have a strict timeline, though, correct?
Yes, they will get into that agreement. That's what I'm saying.
I just don't want to see a project being held up.
Yeah.
I totally am in support of a new family, wanting to, establish their roots. That's what we all want to see, right? Them being on their own and being independent. But I just don't want to see it tied up for 5 years and then interest rates go up and down and it just, it becomes a wild animal at that point.
Correct.
So what I see from this, and correct me if I'm wrong, is this more helpful to more individuals or smaller businesses and helps deter a monopoly?
Yes. If you look at the contract that we have to sign with each individual, we have a limit of 10, and you have to finish 80% before you get into a next agreement. And so these are the boundaries that we make sure a bigger contractor will not come and get all of that, but we will monitor the process at a certain time. That's what it is.
Could you elaborate on point 4, the restructured reduced permit plans? I mean, I think what Reedy was saying, just making sure that it is a quality build, and what does that reduction really look like?
So that is much more of the building officials' function.
Okay.
When it comes to building plan review, we do time calculation and the value of the plans and the project itself. And so it's a mathematical equation that they input to come out with the actual value and then determine the cost of the plans that it will cost to do the reduction.
Did y'all look at the housing study a lot when
Yes.
you were
Yeah.
reviewing this?
Mhm.
I think one of the things that perked up my ears in that presentation was that there was aesthetically, you could pre-approve some plans that would match the other homes in the neighborhood. Did y'all? I know that limits what freedom that would gives, but it could be a constraint in this that makes sure that neighborhoods are alike and they're attractive, and it's.
Yeah.
I thought that was a attractive suggestion because we have seen things that have been built around town that we wouldn't necessarily put there. Was that something that y'all discussed or not?
Yes, so you're talking of neighborhood designs.
Neighborhood
concepts.
designs, yes.
Yes, so we looked into it, and I think there are, we have in there somewhere it talks about pre-approved plan design. So we looked at all those ones that they bring in that we will encourage. It's not just something that is going to be just a cookie cut
Right.
process.
Okay.
We sit with them, let them know there's an already established neighborhood,
Okay.
and it's an infill program.
Good.
So we cannot determine architecture, but we will encourage that the plan design will fit into the already existing neighborhood.
Okay. Good. I would like to see that.
Yeah, we will work on
I
that.
have a question on the one, if you do one home, one duplex, would you lose the money? Okay, it was 5 and 5. It was 5 and 5. You had to do 5 in 5 years. So you're saying you're asking for us to, we could do one in 3 to 5 years, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it will have to be in the contract, the agreement.
Right.
If we will look into it and say you are building only 1 or 2, so we're not going to compare it to somebody who is doing 10. So we
Right,
give you
right.
a certain time.
So would you lose money if someone did 1 instead of 5? Because if you give them 5 years to do 5, they may not do 5. So, I mean, would that put us in a financial bind
No,
if a person knew?
No, it will not.
Okay,
It will not.
okay, thank you.
Council, if I could throw in, we currently have a housing infill program just for one house. I think what Osei and his department was wanting to do is take all of it and put it under one big umbrella. So you can already build one house and still get some incentives.
Right.
But it is on a scale. You don't get the same 5 years.
I was going to just add one more thing. I know we had a great investor that came in and had built, had a great 5 and 5 contract, and everything was great. The product was fantastic. Mayor Pro Tem Savage, myself, Ms. Hammond, and our interim city manager, Mr. Vine, had sat down, had a good discussion with these developers after the fact. And I think we need to have some honest conversations with some of these developers who, out of the goodness of their heart, they're trying to come into the community. Obviously, they're trying to make money, but they're also, you could tell that they have a passion to really try to help the community that they had lineage from previous generations. I think that it's really important to sometimes be able to guide them and say, look, are are you sure you want to build here, right? If you're looking at your price position, let's have a good, honest discussion about, is this really the right area you would want to build this type of building in? And I only say that just because I know you're new to the city and you've taken off and you've done amazing things, so thank you. You and your department, kudos to everyone that works there that have put these initiatives forward in really revamping this program. I appreciate it. But I do think that we want to continue to have those kind of, tough conversations, but honest conversations at the end of the day to say, maybe this is not the right area that you're looking for if you're trying to sell a $250,000 home across from this area. So, we should be able to help and guide these individuals. So I just say that just to, a word of caution, and hopefully that will help them also, and they'll probably appreciate it more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, but now I'm just being honest. Any builder, any contractor should do their own homework, and they should know. So I just had to throw that in.
Yeah.
All right. Any further discussions on this? I know we've this council's awesome. We have really good discussion. So this is a good team. If there is no further discussion, I would love to hear a motion.
So I'll make the motion that we approve the amendment proposal for the 5 and 5 housing infill program, document in relation to the residential housing abatement guidelines, criteria, and the application form.
Do a motion?
I second.
We got a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say no. Motion carries 6-0. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 16, discuss and act on an ordinance adopting a revised and consolidated water conservation drought contingency plan in accordance with requirements of sections 11.1271 and 11.1272 of the Texas Water Code and applicable rules of the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality. Staff, do you have a presentation?
Good afternoon, City Council. This drought contingency plan, water conservation plan, we have a current ordinance from 2019. So this will really be a revision to that current ordinance. So we're required every 5 years to update. TCQ requires us to update and or revise the plan. So that's what we did. We went through several steps to get there. We submitted a draft to TCQ and the Texas Water Conservation, and so there we are. So basically, this is a tool that we could use anytime that the city manager or whoever he or she assigns, the authority to implement this plan. It could be a water main break, it could be drought, excessive drought, 45 plus days. So we got 4 stages. Basically, the first stage of implementation would be if our 2 water sources, Pat Mays Lake and Lake Crook, drop down to 70%. We don't have to implement it, but we could ask for volunteers, which we have in the past, to curtail. And the citizens and industry have been pretty cooperative on that. So that being said, I would recommend that we adopt the city ordinance to adopt this plan, or put it in the old ordinance, the current ordinance we currently have.
Thank you, sir. Is there any discussion on this item? Any questions? If not, then I'd love to hear a motion.
So moved.
Got a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries 6-0. Thank you, sir.
Good
I'm
job,
on the hot
Danny.
seat.
Good job.
Agenda item number 17, discuss and act on necessary edits to the proposed budget of fiscal year 2024-2025. Staff, do you have a presentation?
Mayor Pro Tem, Council, a draft of the proposed budget was presented to you on August 12th, and since then we've had individual meetings, group meetings. We've also had 2 budget workshops last week that were open to the public. Excuse me. And at the last budget workshop, Council provided staff very clear direction to move forwards with specific direction to the police salary, the COLA for the retirees, and the updated service credits for current employees. And over the weekend, since that last meeting, Finance Director Gene Anderson has taken that direction, and he's amended the proposed budget, and he will have some information he will present tonight, and will basically insert that into the budget that you currently have. And then after that presentation is made, we'll have a little bit more conversation and then recommend that you accept or approve the budget as presented. Mr. Gene?
Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, Council. Basically, we took notes on all the changes that the council instructed us to make in the budget as it was originally proposed to you. I've entered that data. We printed out new budget papers with that data in there. And we will get that to you. In fact, if you brought your budget with you tonight, if you're willing to leave it overnight, we will insert that new paperwork in there for you, so you don't have to actually do that yourself. But we made, like I said, the changes that we were directed to, made 2 reductions in the city attorney's line items, her budget. We increased the lot mowing budget for code enforcement. Of course, we adjusted the property tax collection in the original budget was done at the voter approval rate. After approval of the police increase and the COLA and the updated service credit, we changed that to the de minimis rate and amount accordingly. We adjusted a couple of revenue items that when we reviewed that we thought were too low, those being the interest revenue line item and the EMS collections line item. We also adjusted the contingency amount downward from what it was. And one other item came to our recent attention. This didn't actually come up in the workshop sessions, but a few years ago, the TxDOT had offered us a bike lane grant, and then it got postponed and got postponed and got postponed. Well, next year they're ready to do that, and so I went ahead and inserted the city's 10% match and put that over in the capital projects fund, so that we could go ahead and proceed with that when they were putting up their 90%. We didn't want to miss that. So those are the changes that I entered in since after we had all of our meetings. If anybody has any questions about that.
About the edits?
Sir?
About the edits? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I just wanted to tell you the things that I've changed, and if you have anything else, well, then I think you can talk about that too.
No, we'll go ahead and open up the floor to discussion, please.
I had one that we had talked about with you, interim city manager, mayor, in our meeting on Tuesday, and I didn't get to make it to last meeting on last Thursday, but I saw where it was mentioned in next year's budget, but that was an understanding that we came out of the meeting with, and it's the position, I think it's the community development coordinator, who works right under the director of planning, and we had expressed our thoughts of that person or that position getting a raise, and according to all of you, that job has changed in the last 12 years, but this person has been looked over for several years, and I think most of council has expressed their thoughts of that position being reclassified. So I don't want to wait till next year. I mean, I just don't see us telling a person that's steady been skipped over to keep waiting. So I don't know if we need to budget the money and then work with, if council agrees, and then work with the manager to create a reclassification, and then we insert that person, just like we did the lady at the water office. We insert that person, whether it's October, November, whenever, but I would say as expeditiously as possible, because I think we need to do the right thing here and the just thing. I don't know why that position has been turned down for reclassification for the last 3 years or so, but because it's been mentioned by former council members, former mayor, mayor pro tem, me as pro tem, so this should have been done. So we want this done sooner than later. We would like for it to be done sooner
Yes,
than
sir.
later.
I think that it's my understanding as we came out of those meetings, that the job description was being rewritten and a salary was going to be determined. And what we would do, once that has been determined, we would come back and request the council do a budget amendment, so we can insert that in there once we know the number. Right now, I don't have a number that I could have made the change, but as soon as we have it, we can do a budget amendment and stick it in there.
Okay, so I brought it up because in looking at the council meeting on Thursday, it was mentioned next year's budget. I'm talking to the interim city manager, he mentioned next year's budget, but I knew that wasn't the conversation that we had on Tuesday. So I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you for clarifying.
As soon as we have a number, we'll probably bring something back to you.
Okay, thank you.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much for hearing us out on that. Is there any other discussions or anything that we want to just make sure of on this budget before we go ahead and move forward with it? I know it's been a fun process. Okay. If not, then I would love to go ahead and take a motion. Is there a motion on the table?
So moved.
All right, we got a motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say no. Motion carries 6-0. All right. Agenda item number 18, discuss and act on a resolution calling a public hearing on the proposed budget for fiscal year 2024-2025. Staff, do you have a presentation, please?
Mayor Pro Tem, Council. A public hearing on the proposed budgets required by Section 48 of the City Charter, Section 102.006 of the Local Government Code. The budget you have presented to you, and I'll give you the updated numbers for that. We're required to print a legal notice in the paper as well as post the proposed budget on our website, which the staff will do. And what we need tonight is the council to pass a resolution calling for a public hearing on the proposed budget for September the 9th, which is our next regular council meeting.
Council, is there any discussion on this potential proposed resolution? If not, I'll hear a motion.
So moved.
Got a motion? Motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Those opposed, say no. Motion carries 6-0. Agenda item number 19, discuss and act on a resolution calling a public hearing on the proposed tax rate for fiscal year 2024-2025. Staff, do you have a presentation?
Mayor Pro Tem, and Council. Public hearing on the proposed city tax rates required by Chapter 26, the Texas Tax Code. We've discussed the tax rate in our previous meetings. We're asking the council tonight to adopt a resolution calling for that public hearing on the 24-25 tax rate, also to be held on September the 9th.
Council, any discussion on this item? If not, I'll hear a motion.
So moved.
All right, got a motion. We have a second?
Second.
All right, we got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries 6-0. Agenda item number 20, consider and approve future events for the city council and/or city staff pursuant to resolution number 2004-081. Does anyone have anything? I don't have an item to present for future, but I will just note that I have a surgical operation on Wednesday. I'm getting my tonsils removed, so if there's any communication that needs to be had, please, I just won't be able to speak for a little bit, but I can certainly text, email, carrier pigeons, whatever we need. I don't mind. So just wanted to take this moment to say that, so I appreciate that. And if there's not anything else, then we will take it to adjournment.
So moved.
All right, we got a motion and a second. We're adjourned.